Hello and welcome to the weekly newsroom update here on VLGA Connect with Kathryn Arndt. Hello, Kathryn.
Good morning, Chris. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. I feel like we say this every week, but this week we really mean it. What a big week it's been.
What a week. What a difference a day makes.
Indeed. Or a few days. Of course, we're talking about the Spring Street events, state politics, not obviously directly affecting councils, but in the sense that the local government minister is going to change, that will have an impact. What's your take on that?
Yes, look, very disappointing and concerning to hear the allegations that were made in regard to a number of ministers in the Andrews government, and as we know, three of those have now stepped aside. The VLGA, of course, promotes the principles of good governance. We absolutely support behaviours that are based on integrity and transparency, particularly in our elected representative roles. So concerning to hear the allegations. Of course, they are under investigation and we can't make comment on what the outcomes of that investigation might be, but certainly are keen to not only hear the results of that investigation, but also to learn who will be the next Minister for Local Government.
Indeed. You would have also noticed, no doubt, the comments from Gabrielle Williams in relation to the material that it's quite public now. As the VLGA has been such a strong player in the gender equality space, I'm sure you're quite shocked by what played out.
Look, we were, and no one deserves to be on the receiving end of comments such as those, and our support certainly does go out to Minister Williams at this time.
We, on the governance update this week with Stephen Cooper, talked about the importance too of business as usual, particularly governance practitioners working through the implementation of the Local Government Act. I think it's probably bears repeating. There's a lot of political chatter going on around certain things that might be challenged in a political way, but from a governance practitioner point of view, it's important to keep going with business as usual and don't assume that things are going to change at all.
Oh, look, not at all. I can assure the sector that the peak bodies and Local Government Victoria are working together collaboratively to progress, the implementation of the various stages of the new Local Government Act. There's a huge amount of work that needs to go into that, and councils, of course, are across that. Yesterday, we heard from a number of CEOs who absolutely, as business as usual, they have a project plan in place to make sure they hit all of those key deadlines. So nothing's stopping in regards to that, and onwards and upwards.
Now, this week, your election for 2 members of the VLGA board closed, and you can reveal the results for us on the newsroom?
I can, and I'm very pleased to announce that Councillor Denise Massoud from Whitehorse was successfully elected, and Councillor Suzanne Newton from Darebin Council, whose term on the VLGA board ends on 30 June, was re-elected. So both Denise and Suzanne will have a 3-year term starting from the 1st of July.
Congratulations to both of those people. I'm sure they'll be valued contributors to the board. The LGV CEO Group meeting that you attended this week, anything to report out of that?
Look, the focus on Friday was really around some of the significant operational implications of COVID-19 and the financial impact of those. So the focus of Thursday's discussion was really around, of course, the shortfall in the loss of income from childcare services that are owned and operated by local councils in Victoria. The federal government had offered some relief there, but it doesn't go far enough. So we talked about that. And we also talked about the loss of income from the permits that would usually accompany footpath trading. So I think overall the MAV have done some analysis there, and the sector's probably looking at about an $83 million loss.
Significant indeed. So let's have a look. We had a couple of milestone episodes, I think, of VLGA Connect this week. They were both terrific to be involved in. The panel with EY on climate emergency action plans. At one point, we had almost 110 people as part of that live session, which was a terrific response.
Yes, we had 150 odd people registered. Of course, there's always that small amount of attrition, but as you said, over 100 people in the audience, all eagerly digesting the really informative information that the team from EY presented, looking specifically at climate emergency action planning at a national, state and local level, but also in particular the social and economic implications for communities. So there are a number of councillors and also officers in the audience. Those slides and that presentation is now available on our web page and the YouTube site. And we hope that we might also be able to host a panel perhaps in a few more weeks where we get some local government representatives here in Victoria talking about their own specific climate action planning.
Just a sample of the interest. We had people from Darwin, from Queensland, from right across Australia, even beyond the local government sector, which was terrific to be able to provide that for them.
Oh, look, you know, Northern Territory Government, Noosa, Moreton Bay Council. I know Moreton Bay well from my my days of youth where I sailed a catamaran in Moreton Bay. Yes, I'm not sure what I was thinking when I reflect back on the jellyfish that were the size of small vehicles, the sea snakes that would occasionally get washed up on the netting of the boat, and also the sharks. But perhaps it put me in good stead for my career in the future. I'm not sure. I'm just...
You know, it's just occurred to me, there's some podcasts I follow that they title them based on a comment that someone makes in the absolute episode, the actual episode. So I think today's title on that basis would be Jellyfish the Size of Small Vehicles. Now, the other one that we did was the CEO panel with 3 terrific local government CEOs. I just thought it was so insightful. We covered some leadership stuff as well as some practical, how are we doing right now stuff.
Look, it was terrific to have Carol Jeffs from Cardinia, Martin Cutter from Geelong, and also Sarah Philpott from Mildura, all representing different types of municipal communities, and talk about you know, their approach to leadership and learnings in this pandemic, what will be the new world, and how they're both eagerly looking forward to that, but also, of course, having to put in place some measures to mitigate some of the risks that will come with that also. But I think the key messaging that came out of that was how incredibly agile and responsive the local government sector has been, and really, as the members of the community could attest to, many services have not been interrupted. They're continuing, and I think let's look forward to the other thing that came out was this sense of people having now been at home in isolation, getting in touch even more so with their local community and where that might lead.
I just had to grab my notepad because I wanted to get this right. I did make a note when Carol Jeffs made the comment, described this period as being a masterclass in adaptive leadership, which sums up what you just said, which I just thought was brilliant. And there's quite a few pearls of wisdom in that episode, which is available now, and encourage you to watch it. Just a quick plug for the candidate information sessions, Kathryn. They are continuing, and we're getting closer to delivering mandatory training as well on behalf of many councils.
We are. I think we've got about 40 odd councils booked in for the VLGA's candidate information workshops. Those workshops don't include the local government Victoria mandatory component. That component will be available around the 13th of July, at which stage councils, of course, will be able to deliver that alongside our candidate workshops. And we do look forward to that mandatory training being available, because certainly all candidates who nominate will need to have completed that.
We're just about out of time. I won't go through the list of things that we've got planned for VLGA Connect in the coming months, but we do have some terrific guests lined up, some of the commissioners in the state of Victoria. But the one I do want to just highlight very quickly, Kathryn, it's another live panel session on Monday week, the 29th of June, on deliberative engagement. We have Kimbra from Mosaic Lab, who are a very well-known practitioner in the participative engagement space. And Brett Hennig from Budapest, I know that's another city that you love, isn't it, Budapest?
It is, yes. I don't know if they've got jellyfish there, but I'm sure.
So Brett's from the Sortition Foundation. Look that up. He's done TED Talks and everything. Really excited to have them on a live panel to talk about how councils can be preparing for this new age of deliberative engagement that is going to be a requirement for council planning and visioning and strategic work, etc., into the future.
That will be a highly anticipated live panel, I imagine, with obligations now very clear under the Local Government Act for councils and councillors. So for those who haven't heard about that, check out our events page and make sure you register.
Great to talk, Kathryn. We're out of time. I hope you have a great weekend, and I look forward to catching up with you in the newsroom again next week.
I'll see you then, Chris.